The challenge we were facing at UNA is we were experiencing great enrollment growth over the past several years. From 2021 to 2022, we experienced a 13% increase in our enrollment. And that's in three key areas: our traditional on-campus students, our returning adult learners, and online students. So when we were looking at the tutoring services that we were offering through the university, we had to consider all three of those student groups. Our previous tutoring setup was really geared towards our on-campus undergraduate, freshman and sophomore level student population, and we really needed to expand that. So we had a generalized peer tutoring program for 100 level courses, and that it was inconsistent. We weren't able to offer it for all of our courses or to all of our students, or at the times that they could really access or they needed that tutoring. And so with the number of our student population just growing at such an exponential rate, I knew we just had to figure out better tutoring services for those students. And beyond just being able to even train the students in that peer tutoring program, we weren't able to hire students for all of the courses where we were receiving requests for tutoring. And so we needed to support the students who needed help throughout all of those courses. The program features that were critical for supporting our students in academic Jeopardy were really in 5 key areas that we needed to address. One was that the tutors needed to be available 24/7. So a lot of our requests for tutoring would come through at night or over the weekend. Students needed to be able to access tutoring on their own schedule, whether that meant setting up an appointment beforehand or just being able to log in for a quick question when they're studying for an exam. The students needed to feel secure, comfortable, and anonymous in their tutoring session. A lot of students wouldn't attend in-person tutoring out of fear of being seen, getting that help, or embarrassment, or because they were afraid that they would know their peer tutor on a personal level. The tutors needed to receive and maintain a high level of training and professionalism for their interaction with our students. And we needed to be able to offer tutoring in more subject areas, especially in our upper level courses where we hadn't been able to offer tutoring before. And Tutor.com satisfied all of those requirements and exceeded our expectations. And our students and faculty are stunned when we tell them they can access tutoring online in over 200 subjects. We monitored the program's effectiveness by tracking the retention rates, the grades and DFWI rates, and the GPAs of students who used the program versus those who did not. We paid particular attention to students who are considered at risk or who are not in good academic standing. Using the data that we tracked for the students who used the program versus those who did not, from fall 2021 to spring 2022, 88% of Tutor.com users were retained at the institution compared to 83% of non-users. The outcomes were even more impressive for learners who were not in good academic standing. When these students used Tutor.com, they were retained at a rate of 85% during that same time frame, where their peers who didn't engage in the program were retained at a rate of only 70%. And one of our most surprising finds when looking at the data was that at-risk students who used Tutor.com had better retention rates than the overall population of students who did not use Tutor.com. The impact of Tutor.com on student grades and UNA's DFWI rate or that Tutor.com users earned higher grades than non-users, and that is reflected in our DFWI rate. And when looking at that, we considered several different student groups, including overall students, new freshmen, students who are not in good academic standing, and students who are enrolled in our remedial basic English course. In each of those groups, there was a lower DFWI rate for students who use Tutor.com. In the new freshman group, the DFWI rate was 5.5% lower. And for students enrolled in the basic English course, the DFWI rate was 28.5% lower for the students who use the program. The impact of Tutor.com on student GPAs, particularly for students who are not in good academic standing, was that during the fall 2021 term, Tutor.com users achieved higher GPAs than those who did not use Tutor.com. The same with the DFWI rates. The Tutor.com engagement correlated with better results for students who were struggling in their academics. Students who were not in good standing who used Tutor.com made significant gains that helped them earn GPAs that were nearly equivalent to those of the overall student population. The feedback we've received from students and faculty have been overwhelmingly positive. One of my favorite parts of this program are the monthly usage reports, where I can review the feedback from students as they take the end of session surveys, and they are just all overwhelmed with how helpful their tutor was for them, how glad they are that the university offers that service, and just really how easy and accessible it is for them to log in and interact with a tutor. Before we partnered with Tutor.com, faculty would call us and ask if we could connect one of their students with a tutor, or if we offered tutoring in a particular subject. And a lot of times we either had to say no or refer them somewhere else, just because we weren't able to keep up with the demand. We weren't able to provide tutoring in the courses where they were seeking help. And so now we've been able to turn that no into a yes. And that has helped us to build better connections with faculty and staff across campus. When our academic advisors are talking to incoming students about the different services that are offered on campus, they always talk about Tutor.com and how they can access it and get help in their coursework. And they'll say, now you have no excuse not to get help in your classes. It's right there, available whenever you are. One thing I'd like to add is I don't know if we would have been able to gain as much traction in providing Tutor.com to our students if we were still trying to manage the general peer tutoring program that had existed before. We went all in with Tutor.com, and it paid off tremendously. After utilizing the program, being able to review the data and see the difference it was making across multiple student groups and an overall retention at the university helped us to secure buy-in from the administration. And those positive words from students and faculty, they make us feel good, but the data shows that the investment is well worth it.